So the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday on how we do these operations. I said from day one, we don't arrest somebody or detain somebody without reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion has a group of factors you must take into consideration. Racial profiling is not happening at all, and the Supreme Court has agreed with it.
Supreme Court greenlights LA crackdown as Tom Homan drops 70% bomb on live TV. This bombshell ruling was just dropped, so let's see what TDSBC has to say about it.
We all dissent because from the beginning, we have known that Los Angeles has the test case for total dominance and unchecked power by the federal government.
A mark of authoritarianism is a country where the government can stop you and ask you to show your papers. Papers, please. That is not Los Angeles. That is not America. And that is not the country that we want to live in.
This isn't about making America great again. Over 70% of the people ICE has in custody have no criminal records. It's never been about criminals. It's never been about people who have anything on their records. It's been about who they don't want to see in this country anymore. And they're starting with Latinos, and they will be coming for others. Recognize that.
So this is a bunch of crap, okay? These are just lies. We know that Los Angeles is riddled with criminal illegal immigrants. We know that as a sanctuary city, they are committed to protecting criminals. Illegal immigrants who come in because they want a better life, it's understandable. But when the federal government asks you to hold on to the criminals who are committing violent crime in your society and you refuse, and then you incite your city to resist federal law enforcement, that's a whole nother thing we're talking about. And then conflating it to sound like it's all about race, it's a bunch of rubbish. You know it, and I do too.
Welcome back. Joining us now, border czar for the Trump administration, Tom Homan, appearing on the North White House lawn. Sir, thank you for joining us. We just played sound there of elected officials and other leaders in Southern California, many upset about the Supreme Court decision. You heard it. They call this now a papers, please society. So my first question to you is, with this ruling, will the officials there, federal officials working for the Trump administration, National Guard and federal officers, will they be racially profiling? How will they approach the people they think might be migrants?
Well, first of all, it's a false narrative. We don't racially profile people to arrest them. I've been clear from, in the soundbite she just says 70% of people we arrest are not criminals. It's the opposite. Every morning I come to work, I go through 22 pages of data showing what's happened in the last 24 hours. Here are the facts. 70% of everybody we arrest is a criminal.
Now that is massive. When you have 70% of everyone that's picked up being a criminal, and you have these elected officials in Los Angeles and in other blue cities running interference for these people who are identified as child molesters, violent criminals, and they continue to do this, like the Abrego Garcia situation that we all know about. That's exactly what the Democrat Party has become. It's a party that defends criminals, that lies about the statistics, doesn't show any proof, and conflates the issue by throwing in race arguments in the conversation, because they know that that's a radioactive topic.
But the left says we're not criminal enough. No, they're criminals. Who are the other 30%? There are national security threats. We've arrested thousands of national security threats. Most national security threats don't have a criminal history, but they're significant danger to this country. Who are the others? They're gang members with no criminal history. Or they're people who have final orders, who had due process at great taxpayer expense, were ordered removed by a federal judge and didn't leave. They're being arrested too. So this false narrative being pushed is a reason why there's over a 1,000% increase in the assault on ICE officers.
Now, let's talk about the people that get picked up at the immigration courts. You've heard this argument before that ICE is terrorizing communities and is targeting immigrants who just want to go to court and then get a hearing for their case, and then ICE is victimizing immigrants. And Tom Homan is telling us that these are people who already have an order to leave the country. They've gone through the due process several times and they've refused to leave the country. And so they get picked up and they're deported. Now, it's a very soft or sore situation when people who desperately need to be in a beautiful place like the United States get asked to leave. And it's difficult for them to go back to where they came from. Most of these people have sold everything. They have no connections, in their home countries anymore. So going back and restarting is difficult, and we get that. But it's sad to say that these are the laws that a Democrat administration put in place and ICE is enforcing.
So the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday on how we do these operations. I said from day one, we don't arrest somebody or detain somebody without reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion has a group of factors you must take into consideration. Racial profiling is not happening at all, and the Supreme Court has agreed with that.
So what is that reasonable suspicion? Is it an accent? Is it a tattoo? Is it a job? Tell us what that means.
A lot of those things combined. We don't arrest people just based on their looks, right? But it's a myriad of factors. It's when people see, if they have this MS-13 tattoo on his face, that is one factor. It leads to reasonable suspicion, but there's other factors too.
When someone wears a signboard on their face, those tattoos that they carry around, and they're picked off the streets, and people say that that's racial profiling, I would say that, look, people just want to lie and protect people who sometime down the line will commit a violent crime against someone else. And it becomes a matter of, well, we didn't know that this was going to happen, or they just keep quiet about it. These are violent criminals who are advertising their allegiance to these gangs. And when ICE picks them up, you have people on the sidewalk with their cell phones taking videos and doing commentary saying that this is racial profiling. The guy has a tattoo, for crying out loud. So the Supreme Court has greenlit the crackdown on LA. They've lost the case in court. And of course, the Democrats, who claim to be the party of law and order, are going to lose their minds. And they're going to start saying how they want to have more judges or justices on the Supreme Court. They'll start talking about packing the courts. That conversation is going to come up again, because this is what happens whenever they lose a case at the Supreme Court level. They're like, we have to pack the court.
Before they do these operations, they do surveillance. They run intelligence information. They look at background information. They look at undercover videos in taps. They look at social media reports. They copy license plate numbers of people who are leaving and coming. They build reasonable suspicion. That's what's required by law, and I'm confident the men and women, the Border Patrol and ICE, are establishing reasonable suspicion when they detain somebody briefly and question them.
Well, that's it. Supreme Court greenlights LA crackdown as Tom Homan drops 70% bomb on live TV. It's going to be interesting to see what left-wing media does with this ruling, because as usual, they are trying to make the case for criminal illegal immigrants remaining in the country when President Trump wants to protect Americans from the fallout of a disastrous 4 years of open borders by President Joe Biden. So leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll see you on the next one.